What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a training vlog, primary squats, some secondary deadlifts, and a few accessories. We're going to do some barbell shrugs, possibly some curls as well. Maybe I'll throw in one other back movement. We will see. But we are currently on week 2 of our final training block going into Powerlifting America's National Championship. For those of you who don't know, I will be competing on March 7th in the primetime session to try to earn my spot on Team USA to represent my country at the World Championships later this year. All right, that is the plan, that is the goal, that is the mission. And I'm really excited, dude. We're week 2, which really kind of feels like a week 3 because the meet lines up for week 4 of this block. So the numbers I take, the intensity of the sessions, everything kind of gets like sped up by a week. So like last week was a week 1, but it wasn't too much of a reset. You know, we still had to keep the intensity relatively high, which means that, you know, building on that, week 2 is just going to be that much more intense. Next week will be that much more intense, and then we'll get to slow down just a little bit as we go into the meet. So yeah, so I'm really excited. Primary squats, secondary deadlifts, some accessories. I'll talk throughout. I am really excited about today's session, mainly because today will be the day that I get to make a decision on my footwear for squats. I've been kind of going back and forth on my footwear for squats, and I think I found something that really works. It's a little bit of a risk because I basically changed my footwear like last week, but I do think it's going to pay off. So yeah, so we'll see today. We're going to aim for around 705 to 722. That would be nice because next week I want something close to 722 to 744, 750 max. And then we can have a nice kind of trampoline to propel ourselves with going into the meet. There's really no need for me to touch what I plan on hitting at the meet or touch even really that close to it before the meet, unless it would be like an RP 8.5, because it's just not really worth it. I don't really need that heavy of exposure for me to be primed for that number or for those attempts in a couple weeks. So, you know, we want to pace ourselves, we want to be smart, but at the same time, we really do need to feel at tech, especially with the footwear change. So yeah, I'm procrastinating, I'm not going to lie. I love to train. I'm driven, I'm fired up, but at the same time, like training is the last thing I want to do right now because it's just like you know how heavy it's going to be, you know how intense it's going to be, and you know you're beaten up from prep, you're beaten up from all this shit, and it's just like, damn, like I really got to get under this bar right now. But it's all good, man. It's a privilege and it's a blessing, and we almost have our pre-workout done. So in here, I promise is the last thing I'm going to yap about, and then I'll get changed. In here, we've got 2 scoops of pre-workout. We've got 2 scoops of dextrose powder, so puts us at about like 40 grams of carbs right there. And then a scoop of electrolytes. And I believe creatine is in here as well. So this is a monster of a shake. All right, but we're almost done with it. We're almost done with it. Here, let's take a sip. We're going to go with the black singlet today. I've been training in my Team USA singlet the past few weeks, but today I want to go with all black. I don't know. I'm just kind of feeling it. In fact, I'm not just going to go all black. I'm going to go all black, but like the OG all black singlet, the one that has like basically no fabric to it whatsoever. It's not thick. It looks so clean, but you can tell like you feel like you're not really wearing anything, which is good and bad. I mean, like if I can squat really heavy in that, I can squat heavy in anything. But the cool part is it looks fucking sick. So, you know. Okay. All right. Enough procrastinating. Let's get changed. We'll warm up, get under the bar, and keep things pushing. All right. Oh, yeah. Real quick, since I'm not going to be wearing this while I'm training, I'm going to be switching into a shirt that I made actually for my my second national championship. It's actually really cool. I'll show it to you in a second. Able, AYBL. Your boy is an Able sponsored athlete. I've been working with them since late 2025. Have loved working with them so far. I think they make some really cool stuff. It's pretty affordable as well. I highly, highly recommend. All of their t-shirts are sick. I like their oversized stuff. Hoodies are sick. Joggers are nice. Sweatpants are great. I highly recommend, though, if you're going to go with their shorts, go with the Run line because they stretch. All right. Your boy wears the core shorts sometimes, and if I wear them to train, I got to be careful. Them shits will rip 100%. I'm just being honest with you. They look sick. They look really nice, but I only wear them when I'm like going out or when I'm like doing stuff during the day, not training. When I have to squat, I go with the Run line stuff, and I wear an XL in that. I pretty much wear an XL in everything. The compression stuff I'll wear like a large in because I want this just to look extra tight. You know, I want to look like I'm actually jacked. You know, youth mediums. And what else do I wear like a large? And sometimes the hoodies and the oversized tees I'll go with a large because they are built to be oversized a lot of times. But yeah, code Gavin10 to save 10% off if you want to support. Appreciate it. All right, let's change. We are changed. We are ready. You probably can't see the full fit yet, but you will in a moment. But guys, this is a shirt that I made for my second national championship, I believe it was, competing. I forget where the competition. Oh, it was in Florida. That's where it was. It was the year I told 880, became the number one junior in the nation, then went on to become the number one junior in the world. But it was my first like real competition in the open. And yeah, this is the shirt, but it's sick. Underdog, nothing to lose, everything to gain. It's kind of like low key a shit design, but because it's such a shit design, it's a cool design, but it's literally, I think this is literally a size medium. So that's why it fits nice and tight, nice and snug. I did make a shirt for this year's nationals. I did. And I love it. I'm really happy about it. I'm not going to show you guys. You guys will see it either at nationals or after the competition. I love it. But yeah, man, this just, when I put this stuff on, man, it takes me back, but it also reminds me of why I'm here. It reminds me of my purpose, who I am and what it is I'm driven towards. And I really do believe that stuff is important. I'm not saying every athlete needs to operate like that, because I'm not really like a superstitious athlete. It's more so just having these like mindset pillars placed throughout my life and in my environment that are constantly reminding me who I am, what I'm here for, the standard at which I train to, the standard at which I hold myself to, all of that. And when you have that constant reminder, like, look, this is a lonely sport. No one's in here to cheer me on. Like, guys, hold on, let's see if this camera will fall around. Do you guys see the emptiness in this little like basement dungeon right here? All right. This is how I've been training for the past couple months. And honestly, like, I have a love-hate relationship with it, but the beauty of it is I am by my lonesome. Like, there is no one here to support me, no one here to cheer me on, no one here to entertain me. Like, it doesn't exist. I'm here by myself. It's fucking cold in here. It's dark. And this is the way I like it, man. This is how I like it, because this is where the work happens. Like, the forge is meant to be uncomfortable. When you shape metal for war, it's hot. It has to be hot. That's the only way it can be shaped. And when you're a blacksmith and you're shaping your body is the weapon. This is what it takes, you know what I mean? And this isn't even that bad, But my point is, your environment can matter. The pillars that you place in your life that hold you accountable to that standard matters. And so this is one of those things. As you can tell, I'm still kind of procrastinating here. But all right, cool. Yeah, let's start warming up. We'll get under the bar and we'll keep it pushing. I usually take all my earlier warm-ups on squat, high bar, because my shoulders and my wrists, they take a while to get warmed up. I switched to low bar once I hit 3 reds. And then by the time I hit 4 reds, I'm pretty much in the position I need to be in. Usually I have 1, maybe 2 more warm-ups after the 4 reds before like a top set like today to really find that position. And then it's just, it's my top set. But yeah, it takes me a while. So if you see me warming up high bar, that's why. Yeah, we're gonna throw these on, but first we got to set a timer on the phone. So we just took 2 reds, now it's time to take 3. When I go to 3 reds, I do low bar, but it's also when I put my knee sleeves on. Now, I've been going back and forth between the OG SBD powerlifting knee sleeves and the new powerlifting knee sleeves from SBD. The problem with these is I normally wear a size medium. Size medium in these absolutely suffocate my leg. Impossible. So can't do it. Size large, these slide on really easily and slide off really easily. So I wish they had like an in-between size, to be honest with you. The other problem with these is they do roll down a lot. What I do like about them though is they obviously are thicker. And so it's not necessarily that they're stiffer. I feel like there's just more fabric or something. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just thicker. These are way more flimsy for sure, but these I can wear a size medium in and they fit more similarly to how these would fit. But because I guess because they're more flimsy, kind of like they conform to the leg a little bit nicer, which is nice. But these also roll down quite a bit. So I just can't win, bro. I just can't win. So I'm trying to figure out which sleeves I'm going to go with today. I'll probably end up put one sleeve on one leg, one on the other, do an air squat, and then use that to decide. But I've been taking my singles in these, so, but I've also squatted pretty heavy in these, you know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to get anything out of either of them, to be honest with you. But, that, whatever. All right, let's throw them on. Like, it just pisses me off. Like, look at these things, bro. They're literally folding. It bothers me so much. I have some small pet peeves when it comes to training, okay? One, uneven floors. When I have to lift on uneven flooring, that pisses me off because it's there. I just notice it. This is number 2. Second to last warm up, so trying the other knee sleeves just to kind of feel it out. It's not going to give me a good idea, but it'll give me a decent idea. They definitely are easier to bend for sure, but the nice thing about them is that they're a little bit more compressive, I feel like. They still row down quite a bit, which really bothers me, man. My quads are just too damn big, bro. Last warm up before top set.
Let's go. Good. Control, you got it. Come on. Yep, come on. Ah!
Lots of whip. I wasn't used to how much whip. Depth was probably cut.
Well, I feel like even in the walkout.
I know. Just that whip. If I could just like mentally get over that whip and just dunk it a little bit further. Now we have 3 singles at just over 640. This is like 644. No, this is not my program. I'm not gonna lie. I've been calling audibles on some of my primary sessions, especially just doing kind of trusting like my gut on certain things, but just giving myself the practice I need and the stimulus that I need while still mitigating some of the fatigue. I'll talk about the top set after I finish these 3 singles because then we'll be transitioning to secondary pulls. But overall, like pretty happy. But yeah, let's take this. Not bad. Okay, could talk about it a little bit before we transition to secondary pulls. I'll put you guys right over here in the light and pick up this camera just a little bit. Is this thing looking at me yet? How about that? That should be good, I feel like, right? Okay, so a couple things. First and foremost, the knee sleeves that I used for that top set were actually the mediums that I found in the powerlifting version of the sleeves. Those things were dumb tight. I had to yank those things off. So I don't know if I'm gonna wear them at the meet because they're just way too tight. Super uncomfortable, just cutting off blood circulation. So I was kind of feeling that. The top set, I think, would have been 2-to-1, not in my favor. If I'm lucky, which truthfully, like, could it be due to the flats? Might be. But I've had similar issues with every shoe. And to be honest with you, even in spite of that, what could have been maybe 2-to-1, maybe it was a little bit higher than usual, it still moved like really well. So what I felt was a ton of whip and a ton of shake. Number one, this bar has a lot to do with it, but number one, the unrack was not as calm, cool, collected as I would have liked. It was very aggressive, which caused a lot of that whip. The walkout was aggressive, caused a lot of the whip, and then I tried to really let that bar settle. The problem is when I descended, I didn't really descend organically and naturally. I kind of bullied the bar into the descent, And that can kind of throw things off quite a bit. You kind of have to like move with the bar in a way, as opposed to trying to force the bar to move where you want it to and how fast you want it to. And it's very difficult to time that. But either way, no excuses. Like, in a meet, I have to be able to adapt to that. And we can, and we will. But either way, I'm actually really happy with the speed of this, especially since it's a week 2. I'm carrying a lot of fatigue right now. I can just feel it. My back is pretty shot. My legs are pretty shot. So overall, even just judging by the speed of these, like I was taking 4 singles with 650 2 weeks ago, and each one of those moved pretty well. These I could tell, like my legs had to work. Like, I felt it. It wasn't like seamless and natural and smooth. I felt it, which means, yeah, my body's fatigued. It's kind of, it's been dealing with some heavy ass weight. So it's to be expected. That said, now's the time to start to really fine tune things so that we can be prepared for game day. Overall, we have to squat deeper, but I am happy with the flats right now. I do feel like it does limit me a little bit positionally, but overall, I'm pretty happy with it, especially because the week 1 single with the 683 moved really well. But I would say, believe it or not, the speed of this was pretty similar. Depth was a little bit higher for sure. The 683 was to depth, but on the 683, I had a little bit of like pitching forward happening, whatever. And so that kind of threw off the squat a little bit, whereas this week we didn't have to deal with that, which is kind of nice. Now, the downside to that was we ended up having the hips kind of shoot back just a little bit, locked us up, but it's okay. We can figure that out. So this was kind of like the final day to decide whether or not we're going to go flats or we're going to go heels. Now, the cool part is, as an athlete, your job is to adapt and execute, right? We can find a way. It's not that big of a deal to throw some heels on mid-meet and say, okay, fuck it, like the flats weren't going to work. We're just going to go heels. I can do that. I'll be bringing my gray heels because I bench in them. I probably won't bring my 3/4 inch heels as a result, which kind of sucks because I would rather squat in those 3/4 than the grays. But I'm not going to fucking bring 3 pairs of shoes, man. Like, this is ridiculous. We're squatting, okay? It ain't that fucking deep. So the plan would be to bring the extra shoes just in case. We can throw them on if we need them, but I honestly think we'll be in a good spot come meet day. And yeah, dude, like my body, I think, is responding pretty well to the squats right now. Like, if you saw how my squats were looking, 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, bruh, yeah. So we're in a good spot. I'm really excited. Really excited. So now we have some secondary pulls. I'll talk more about like my programming choices when it came to kind of calling audibles on the primaries. I'll talk about that later, but we got more training to do. So yeah, secondary pulls are pretty easy today. It's like a top pause set and then some back downs, but I keep today like super fucking chill on pulls because this close to the meet, I'm not building anything. I'm not getting anything out of it. It's not even a stimulus that's really going to help me maintain anything other than just fatigue me, really. So like I keep today super, super chill. It's more like just technique, float through it, and then get to the barbell shrugs, the curls, and then we're done. Then we can talk more about it, all right? So yeah, let's keep it pushing. Let's grab some chalk. Iron Claw Gym Chalk. For those of you who don't know, this is actually my own chalk brand. Oh, we're going to restock Amazon soon. Just waiting for the spring to get the chalk blocks in. So that's super exciting. This chalk is a little bit different than what you might be used to. This is a very, very dry chalk, which I prefer. I don't prefer moist chalk. So, for example, Friction Labs Unicorn Dust, that's like a very, very common climbing chalk that people use. That's more moist. I competed with that for a long time, and that's kind of why I ended up trying to make my own because I felt like it sucked. So my chalk is lab grade, lab made. Very big difference. Made in the US, by the way, as well. And yeah, it's a little bit drier than most. I wouldn't say it's the driest chalk on the market, but it's definitely drier than most. And just so you guys know, I base the quality of my chalk off of the standards of the rock climbing industry, not obviously the lifting industry. And in the rock climbing space, usually the drier the chalk, like a super dry formula, so to speak, or like a super dry chalk, is considered a higher performance chalk. At the end of the day, though, it is, kind of preference. The downside to a drier chalk, though, is it can cause a little bit more like rips because it's drier. It's literally drying out your hands. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. Take care of your hands, That said, new formulas are on the way. Chalk blocks are coming, and we are working on a liquid chalk as well. Okay, enough about the chalk. You can get it on Amazon. I think we might have like 10 units left on Amazon, but we'll be restocking that soon. In terms of deadlift, I took one red. Today, I have a top pause triple. I'm going to use 220. Last week I used 215. This week I'm going to use 220. Next week will be 225, and then basically that's it, because that'll be week 3, and then we'll have the meet. So yeah, I'm basically just jumping straight to my top set. So this will take me 5 seconds to do. Oh, you're leaving? Oh no, you look so good. Damn, bruh. Just gonna dip like that?
I have to go and lift.
I love you too. You look beautiful. All right, have fun. Okay, here we go. No music, no nothing. Yeah, been experimenting with a slightly wider stance. Reset, bing, bing. Cool, reset one more time. Just thinking about loosening my belt. Feeling a little bit of like acid reflux. Sweet. Not too bad, not too bad. Now for the back downs, I only have 2 sets of 3, non-paused. It's supposed to be 10 to 12% drop from this. We'll see what that puts us at, but no matter what, I think I'm just gonna take 190 kilos, which to some of you, you may be thinking, the fuck is wrong with you? That's nothing. Yes, that's the point. It is nothing. Like I can tell, even just doing that 3rd rep, I can just feel it in my body. Just another minus 1%, minus 1%. I can feel the fatigue stack. And so, like I said, we'll talk about this after I finish training, but you have to be smart, man. Like, what is the purpose of the peak? The peak is to express your top end. That means you need a skill adaptation, you need your central nervous system to adapt, which basically means top end exposure. And you have to alleviate fatigue. Now, a lot of coaches, especially in today's world, like to keep fatigue relatively high because they don't want to risk detraining, and they think that you can beat the fatigue by tapering really well going into a meet. The problem is, it's very difficult to time that. It's very difficult to do that. And what I've noticed is in a weight class sport as competitive as this is, it's not like I have extra resources at my disposal to recover. Like, it's not like I get to eat 5,000 calories a day. I don't. I get to eat 2,200, 2,100 on top of the 30 minutes of steady state incline cardio that I do every single day, 31 to be exact. So, it's not like I have extra resources to tap into per se. So I have to be very, very cautious with how much I fatigue the shit out of my body. And like, some things just aren't worth it. It's just not worth it. So this is really like the final week for me where I'll allow myself to like do shit like this, where it's like, okay, that felt like maybe I did 1 rep too many, or I can feel it, like my body's sore, my body's beat. Starting next week, yes, top sets and shit like that will be heavy, but I really have to be careful with how much fatigue I drive outside of that. And it doesn't mean I can't fucking touch anything or do anything else. It just means that I genuinely have to stay ready, but I have to mitigate as much fatigue as possible. Now, I will say that volume is something, I'll start unracking this as I'm talking to you. I will say that volume is a variable a lot of coaches like to manipulate to keep athletes feeling trained without driving a fuck ton of fatigue. The difference is it's a different kind of fatigue, right? So like heavy volume, that's like double whammy. Just volume for the sake of volume kind of just keeps the body ready, keeps the muscle maintained, keeps the body relatively conditioned so you'll feel good without completely killing you, you know what I mean? And then obviously a complete lack of volume can sometimes lead to some degree of real detraining, which it is a risk. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like some of the changes I've made in this peak they are a slight risk, but I think that I do think that they will pay off. Mainly because it's 3 weeks. Like, I don't think my body's going to decondition that fast. And if the difference between me feeling pretty good versus great is, light 2 sets of 7 during the week versus not, again, to me, I just don't think that that's going to make or break the performance. I think if something was going to make or break the performance, it was going to be in some of the other preparation variables leading up to the meet. You know what I mean? But that conversation is for after the competition. So we're going to go down to 190. I think no matter what, the only thing I want to avoid is 190 being too heavy. So if minus 10 to 12% ends up being 170, then we'll go 170. But if it's 200, I'm just gonna go 190. Sick. That was easy as fuck, but believe it or not, I'm actually gonna take this down now to 3 reds. And actually I kind of called it because the 2x3 is supposed to be at minus 10 to 12%, and minus 12% is 193. So fell just under, but we're gonna go 170 for the final back down here. Okay, done. Wrap set with the 2 reds, and then we're gonna cut it down to 1 red. Do 2 more sets, and then we'll do our hammer curls, and we're done. Nice. Please excuse the mess. My brother does some lacrosse stuff down here. So, but actually he's not that bad in terms of his mess. Most of my siblings aren't too bad. They are a little bit, but honestly, so can I. I can be pretty messy as well. Anyway, all right, so we're gonna do a couple sets of these dumbbell incline hammer curls. I do regular supinated curls, incline, during the week. So I like to finish the week with these. First set's always the longest. Almost done. 2 more sets, and we're done with training for the day. I hate filming vlogs because it takes me out of my focus. Usually I just put my headphones in and I'm locked in on every warm-up, every set. But I understand the value of doing these vlogs. And it does help being in here alone, because then the only thing that distracts me from my training is me talking to you guys. So, as opposed to other people talking to me and stuff. But, when you're this close to the competition, every rep matters. Every single rep. You really need to lock in and appreciate the gravity of what you're doing. Every rep is 1 rep closer towards winning or losing a championship. And your mom may pity you. Your girlfriend may pity you. Your friends may say, "Oh man, dude, but you're working so hard. We're so proud of you." "Oh, we get it, man. You're struggling. We understand. We feel for you." But winning doesn't give a fuck. Winning doesn't care about you. Doesn't care how hard you work or how hard you don't work. So every rep matters in here. And I always try to remind myself of that, to stay focused. Even with stuff like this, always being smart, but giving my all, So yeah, let's go into the next set. Oh. One more set. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna eat. I have to do my cardio, so I'm thinking I might talk to you guys about training and all that stuff during cardio. Usually I read during cardio, but I can make an exception today. All right, cool. I'll show you guys what I eat as soon as I finish this. All right, guys. So real quick, I'm gonna go upstairs to heat this up. And then after I finish heating up the food, we're gonna eat it and then do cardio. I'll talk to you guys during cardio. I just wanna show you what this is. So there's a grocery store kind of near us called Market Basket that is really, really good. We used to get our steak there. We still sometimes do, it's just very expensive. You know, my filet mignon and all that stuff. And they have these pre-prepared bowls. You guys see that? Can you see that? Hold on. Boom, look at that. Bro, that is money right there. Holy smokes. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna heat this up. I wanna say this is about 4 to 6 ounces of relatively lean steak. I don't think this is 8 ounces. We've got about 2 cups of jasmine rice or white rice in here and some veggies. So this is perfect. I'm gonna have a protein shake probably after I finish my cardio. We have 31 minutes and then I go about the rest of my day. I have some calls, some work to do, all that stuff. But yeah, so we'll heat this up, munch on it, and then we'll do our cardio. Just finished cardio, 31 minutes. I always do a little bit extra. The idea behind that extra minute, if you watch any of my videos before in my training vlogs, I've talked about this, but the idea of the extra minute is you just go one more for good luck. It's this idea that let's just make sure we did everything we possibly could. We left everything out there. Let's just do a little bit extra, that extra mile. And yeah, so I always add an extra minute. When I started my cut a couple months ago, I started it with 20 minutes a day, every day, so 21. And then once I was about 8 weeks out, I believe, I bumped it up to 31 minutes a day, every day. And yeah, it's just, honestly, I love it. I think it's great because one, I get to meditate during it. Two, it loosens me up. It really just, it gets my blood flow going. It also kind of just like, it's the complete opposite of heavy compound training, you know? And so it just walking at a slightly higher difficulty level than normal just has a really positive effect, I think. I would like to be walking outside in the sun, but I don't live in an area that's like that, so yet. So we use the treadmill over here. An incline, decent brisk walk, relatively zone 2. And yeah, but usually I read too, so this is a recent pickup, Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within. I've been reading this, but I rotate books. So I had finished the first half of the Red Rising series. I'm really big into fantasy books. Oops. And I finished the first half of the Red Rising series, and I bought Iron Gold, the 4th book in a 6-book series. And I got a few chapters in, and I was like, you know what? I should probably just take a break here because I think I could get into it, but I felt like I had to force myself a little bit. I hate it when there's like POV changes among characters, like when there's multiple characters and it's constantly changing. I hate that. And that's what started to happen now. So that pissed me off, and I was like, you know what? I should probably be reading something a little bit more productive for a bit anyway. Also, too, I've been taking acting very seriously. So I'm about 3/4 of the way through a book called, I believe it's called like Acting in Film, or Movie Acting, something like that, whatever. By Michael Caine, who's a phenomenal actor. And that's been really insightful, honestly. Not a whole lot in there that I didn't already know, but just little nuggets, you know, of wisdom. You know, it's almost like reading a book written by a world champion powerlifter talking about, you know, their process and their experience. You know, I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge. It's accessible to you. That sounded retarded. It's accessible to you for the price of $15 on Amazon, you know? So to me, it's like, that's such an easy buy, easy choice. So I've been heavily reading that during cardio, and now heavily reading this. I just started this yesterday, and I picked this up because, you know, I've dabbled in public speaking, as some of you guys know, and that's what I know of Tony Robbins, but 90% of successful individuals, both in business and in sport, all reference Tony Robbins at some point. They just all do. He seems to be a common denominator. And so I figured, you know what? I've never read his books. And I'm a little bit frustrated with where I am in my life right now. You know, I do think I've had a healthy amount of success, but nowhere near as much as I want for myself. And I feel like I'm just so fucking far behind, not just other people, but I'm far behind the version of myself that I believe I'm capable of, especially the version of myself that I'm capable of at this age. I mean, I'm 27, I'll be 28 in a month. And like I said, I've had a very healthy amount of success. I mean, I've done things and experienced things that, I mean, I can quite literally say 99.9999999% of the human population will never experience, which is incredible. At the same time, it's just not enough. You know, I feel like I was born for more, and I've been really frustrated with that. And I've made a lot of drastic changes as a man and as an individual over the past year or two, several years really, but it really was over the past 2 years, I think, that I was forced to make some serious changes about my personality and how I carried myself. Not so much that I was headed in a negative direction, but more so that I just assumed more responsibility, and a lot of shit has happened over the past couple of years in my personal life, in my family, lots of death, lots of tragedy, and yeah, just more stuff and more people that I have had to become responsible for. So to put it simply, you know, I'm not looking for anybody's pity here. I'm just being transparent. Like, to put it simply, I just have had to grow the fuck up, you know, more than I was, or more than I had grown, you know, at that time. So I would say around 24, 25 years old is when I really, really woke the fuck up. I woke up around 21, 22, like really woke up. I would say actually, yeah, 21, 22 is when I woke up. That was the first like inflection point for me. And I tell that story briefly in the 3 Costs of Greatness speech I gave. It's on my channel. But yeah, but I think most men would probably agree, like, you're gonna have multiple seasons like that. You're gonna have multiple moments like that throughout your life. They're like mini rock bottoms in a way. And I think they're necessary because they are what propel you forwards, you know? But they're what give you a reason to create change. But anyway, I decided to take this book super seriously and read this because too many successful individuals who I look up to, who I study, have referenced it and referenced Tony Robbins. And so I figured, I can't hurt, man. Worst thing, I waste this time. And if I keep going the way I'm going, I'm gonna be wasting that shit anyway, you know? So, yeah, we're trying to close that gap between where we are and where we could be. It's that simple. So that was me running off on a tangent there, but I get to read when I do cardio. So I really do. I've learned to enjoy my cardio. It gets to be a pain in the ass when I have to hit 40 minutes or more, but for the most part, you know, I don't really have to. And if my training volume wasn't so low, you know, for the past several months, or I shouldn't say for the past several months, but really for the peaking process, then I probably wouldn't even have to do a full 30 minutes every day. You know, I never used to do cardio every day. I used to do like 20 to 40 minutes for maybe 5 times a week. But, you know, now I wanted it to become just part of my nature, just part of my life, part of who I am. You know, I'm the type of guy, I am the person who's going to do cardio every day. So that's what I did. And when you make a decision like that, it just becomes that much easier. So anyway, yeah. So cardio is done. What do we have to talk about? We have to talk about nationals coming up. We've got to talk about how training has been going. I'm not really going to talk about strategy or, you know, my numbers or anything like that. It's not because I have anything to hide. It's just, I don't see the value in it. You know, I don't care about it that much. Like, I have in my head what I want to hit, what I want to do, irrespective of whether or not anyone else were to show up on that platform. And I truly mean that. Like, I think that's the difference between me and every other competitor is I'm in this for the love of the game. I'm in this for the love of the grind, the grit. Like, I genuinely want to see how far I can push myself. And I truly believe I have limitless potential. And some people can call that cocky and arrogant if they want to, but, you know, it is what it is. I don't know any other way. So I have a lot of self-belief. And what is the point in me stepping on that platform and getting under a bar when it is not heavy, when it is not the heaviest, when it's not something I've never attempted before? Like, what's the fucking point? I mean, I don't know. Like, I'd walk away, if I did the bare minimum to win my class, and the bare minimum to win my class was less than I've done before, I'd walk away feeling disappointed in myself for shortchanging myself. Because it's about principles. Like, it's the principle of going all in. It's the principle of doing what no man has done before. It's the principle of this is my standard for myself, and it is a standard of excellence. I will attempt to do something so fucking great it scares the shit out of me and everybody else around me. But if I do it, man, if I do it, people are gonna be like, what the fuck? And I'm gonna be like, man, I fucking did that. But anything less than that elite spot, anything less than that true greatness, it won't cut it. That's what drives me. That's what motivates me. So whether or not the competition was deep, and it is, but whether or not the competition was deep, I'd be loading the same numbers I plan on loading anyway. So there's really no point in talking about that. This peak, I have made quite a few changes to my programming, doing something a little bit different than I've done in the past. I've just been kind of trusting my gut a little bit more. I want to be as prepared as possible. And, once I was about 8 weeks out, I made a decision to burn the boats, as I like to say, to burn your ships. And, what that means is no matter how things are going, no matter how things are looking, no matter what your circumstances are, you have to make a decision. I am going to win at all costs. I am going to show up in my best form at all costs. No matter what it takes, I will be ready. I will be prepared, not just to win, but to dominate. And that has to be a mental decision you make, because any hesitation, any doubt leaves room for a leak, leaves room for negativity to creep in and diminish the strength of your belief, the strength of your determination and your decision. And so 8 weeks out, I flipped the switch, and it's that simple. And no matter how things were going and things were not going well, I made the decision to turn things around at all costs. Maybe that means going against what my coach says. Maybe that means going against the conventional norm. Maybe it means going along with what people think. Whatever it takes, guys, within ethical reason, of course, within ethical bounds. But whatever it takes as an athlete, that's it, And I don't want to look back and say, even if, guys, I've lost before. I've won and I've lost before, but I've lost a lot more than I've won. And it hurts to lose. It hurts especially to lose when you've given everything. But I can tell you right now, if you lose knowing you didn't give everything, knowing that you truly didn't believe, that you truly didn't try, you will hate yourself. You will hate yourself. You'll hate the world when you lose despite giving your all, but you will hate yourself when you lose knowing you did not give everything you had. That's the truth. So I can't, man. I have to, I made that decision to go all in. So some of those changes that I made, on my primary squat, we used to have a heavy back down double from the top single and then 2 sets of 4 at a percent drop. I nixed all of that crap and basically just, I take a percentage based singles. So last week I took 683 for the top single, then I took 616 or 610 for 4 sets of 1. This week we took 716 for the top set, and then we took 3 sets of 1 with 644, which I want to say, is somewhere around 82.5 to 83%. Next week, my plan, depending on how I feel, is we'll take our top single, not sure what that'll be yet, and then the plan is to go to 2 sets of 1 with somewhere around 85%, maybe 87.5%, which would be anywhere between 660 to 672. So that would be the plan. And that's it. There's no back downs after that. I just move right into my secondary deadlift work, which, as you saw, was pretty light. The reason why I made that switch was predominantly because I know I needed practice, especially if I was going to be changing footwear, and squat positioning has been kind of all over the place and just whatever. Long story short is I wanted more practice. That was the first thing. The second thing is I wanted more top end exposure, period. I wanted my central nervous system to kind of have a little bit of a shock, to be told hey man, you can't take it easy here. You need to fucking adapt and get ready because we're going to load X weight, in 4 weeks. So pick it the fuck up. And this is my way of doing that. I can't say it's the smartest way, but it's certainly a way. It's certainly, in my opinion, a better way than taking, super submax loads, less than, let's say, 620 or 610. As a 765 pound squatter, 610 is not crazy, or it shouldn't be at least. It's 80% or less. So to take that, for a double, or to take that, or much less, let's say 550 for sets of 4 and shit, it's what am I really getting out of that? What is that truly doing for me? Especially on the primary day. I think it's just adding fatigue for no reason without much of an adaptation there for something. So that's why I made that change. Made a similar change on deadlifts where, we take our top single and then I've created a tapering effect across the back down. So like week 1 might be a 2x4 at a certain weight, super light. And then the next week will be like a 2x3. And then the week 3 will be a 2x2 back downs. And then obviously we have the week of the meet. Changes like that. I haven't made as many adjustments to the bench work because bench is going pretty well. And although my body's been pretty beat up on bench, like last block we saw weeks 1, weeks 2 feeling pretty shitty, but getting slightly better. Week 3 felt pretty normal. And then boom, by week 4, I was on. And so we're basically taking a similar approach for this block. I'll make some micro adjustments here and there. The tricky part is that my primary bench day right now falls on a Monday. Obviously the competition is on a Saturday, so we'll have to make that adjustment. The one thing that does work in my favor is I bench 4 times a week. The first bench day is my primary day on Monday. My last bench day of the week is Friday, and I do a long pause single, relatively higher intensity. So it's not like I'm not used to benching that heavy later in the week anyway. So it's really not going to be that hard to make adjustments. We'll basically just switch those days essentially, maybe push back our 2x2 day. I maybe probably turn that into a top double instead of doing a 2x2. We'll see. I will push that back to Wednesday instead of having that done on Thursday. That we get that extra 2 days of rest in between for the meet. And that's probably what's going to happen. But so not too many changes made to that side of things. And then in terms of accessories and stuff like that, this is probably the least amount of accessory work I've really ever done. And it's been like this for a little while now, for better or for worse. But for the peaking block in particular, I chose to switch from pendulum squats midweek to leg press because I get a really good overload stimulus from leg press. Doesn't beat my body up as much. It just helps me really drive a lot of power into the quads and into the legs, both for the start position from the deadlift, but then also in the squat as well. So that was a change I made. And just do some light ipsilateral dumbbell Bulgarians on the secondary squat day, just kind of keep blood flow in, nice unilateral movement. It's not challenging whatsoever. I only do 2 sets of 10 to 12, but it's enough to just like maintain. Again, the name of the game when it comes to accessories, usually when you're peaking or 4 weeks out or so, is just kind of maintain your fitness, maintain your musculature. You don't want to kill yourself with the accessories, bench, accessories too, I still do my super close grip, flat, barbell work one of the days, but I eliminated the incline super close grip, which I was doing a couple blocks out. And most of my dumbbell pressing is pretty light, just AMRAPs, at like 50 to 80 pounds. So that's pretty good. So recovery-wise, things are pretty decent. I have been cutting because obviously it's a weight class sport. I got to make sure I'm in a good position to make weight. And right now I'm in a really good spot. Obviously we still have a couple weeks to go. Plus a lot of traveling, so we want to make sure that we're still staying dialed in and we're doing the right things. But I'm pretty confident that if things continue as they are, we'll be in a great spot. So, body weight's under control, mental's under control. I mean, I guess that's a good place to kind of go with this video, and then we'll close it out. Mindset-wise, man, this is an interesting prep because, look, man, I'll be real with you. My entire training year was one of the worst training years I've had. Not just in terms of, and by training year, I mean since last nationals, because I haven't competed since last nationals, last April, 2025. We've had a lot happen. Leading up to that national championship had arguably the worst news I've ever received in my life. And I've received some pretty bad news throughout my lifetime. That was some of the, it was just really hard. And so that nationals hit. I don't want to get emotional. That nationals hit and mustered through it. And then man, dude, that shit life beat the fuck out of me between what had happened, things that, happened at nationals, obviously, losing after working so fucking hard for so long. And then some other variables compounded the effects of that. And then just more stuff in my personal life and just I just felt so beaten down. And then shortly after, my grandfather was put on hospice, and he was here with us in the house, and which is kind of a blessing. I'm older, right? I'm 27, and I kid you not, I literally live in my parents' basement. But the truth is this: it's a blessing because I'm going to be very real with you. I could have moved out years ago. I was able to move out years ago. I promise you, I was able to do it. I had multiple chances to do it. I just kept choosing not to for certain reasons, and And I'm really grateful that I didn't. And I think God wanted me to stay here because I'm not trying to make excuses for a lack of action on my part. I'm not. I could be wrong here. But I because of a lot of stuff that happened in my personal life and the amount of responsibility I had to assume for my family, I needed to be here. Genuinely needed to be here. For like at least the last entire year and a half, I would say. Period. So that's a huge thing. But I say all that to say my grandfather was basically dying. And then he passed in September of 2025. So what is that, like maybe 5 months ago or so, 6 months ago or so. And I had a lot going on in my life at that time as well. And he passed. And then 2 weeks ago, or was it last weekend? I forget. No, I think it was 2 weekends ago. Unfortunately, we had to euthanize my dog, Maverick. Beautiful dog. Great dog. He was about 10 years old, 11 years old. Had a ruptured spleen, I think it was, or something like that. Long story short, they think he had like some sort of cancer in his spleen as a result of something that had happened. And he was in a lot of pain. It was going to be really bad. And we really kind of had no choice. My biggest regret with that, and I fucking hate myself for this, is we couldn't bury him because, we couldn't bury him because it's freezing outside. And the weekend prior, we had a massive snowstorm here in Jersey. We got like 2 feet of snow. And for those of you who don't know, between the snow, obviously it's really cold. It's fucking snow. It's basically ice at that point. But then the ground is like rock. The dirt is literally like rock because of how cold out it is. I mean, it was reaching like negative temperatures Fahrenheit. So it was extremely cold. So it would have been virtually impossible to dig for Maverick, especially in the time frame that we had in order to, do it properly. And so we couldn't bury him, which, as somebody who really values honoring people and values doing something simply because it's what feels right, not necessarily what makes sense, to not be able to do that for him was really hard. And that was a couple weeks ago. So, this whole past year and a half or so, I have a great uncle who just passed this week. My grandmother has dementia. It's declining rapidly. Yeah, I mean, this is life. People have it much worse than I do, for sure. My point is, though, all of that shit's going on, and, the entire past year of training has been useless, basically. I mean, like, I hate to say it, but I think almost no progress, really. I mean, it was just a bunch of wasted effort. I was working my fucking ass off over and over and over and over again. And I'm not trying to point fingers or anything like that, but I just feel like, where's the progress? And it wasn't until I feel like I really just took the reins on some things that I could kind of steer some things in the right direction. Now, maybe it's placebo, maybe it's just, I don't know. But, yeah, man. And so coming into nationals 8 weeks out, I mean, I was like, crazy. I was like, if I get through this is God. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing the work, but this is the Lord. And yeah, man. And I just made a decision 8 weeks out. I was like, I don't give a fuck how I feel. I don't give a fuck how things are going. I don't give a fuck about anything or anyone. I'm winning. Period. I am going all fucking in. I don't care if I burn my flesh in the process. I'm fucking going in to win. And that's it. And that's exactly where I'm at right now. So mindset-wise, man, the competition is the competition, bro. Pick who you want to fucking pick. I don't give a fuck, dude. I don't give a fuck. I know who the fuck I am. I know my potential. I know how great I am. I really do. I really do. And if you saw how much shit I've had to fight through over and over and over and over again, not just once, not just one prep, every year, how much shit I've had to fight through to come back from, just to come this fucking close. Ask my coach. I genuinely, like, every performance you've seen from me since, I would say, 2021, really, every performance has been me having to figure my shit out because nothing was working, nothing was going well, everything was tanked within the last 4 to 8 weeks. That's it. NAPFs, when I crossed the 900 kilo barrier, total 901, right? Guys, I could barely squat 683 4 weeks out. Nothing was going well. Nothing was going well. I called an audible, made a very risky decision with my programming, and it kind of paid off. Every single fucking prep. Sheffield, 12 weeks out from the very first Sheffield, I could not tie my shoes without back pain, let alone get under a bar. And yet then I showed up and placed third, almost placed first. Every prep, dude. Every fucking prep I've had to fight tooth and nail. Every prep I've bled for, like literally. And some people may say, oh, it's corny and cringy. Fuck you, okay? Then you don't take this seriously enough. I'm sorry. I literally dedicate my fucking life to this, to be the greatest at what I do. The greatest, not one of the best, not hit a world record total, the greatest. That's how seriously I take this. I step into the arena, and I don't care who you are. If you are somebody who steps into the arena, you understand what is at stake. You understand the language I'm speaking. So yeah, I went super hard. Heidi just called me to let me know that her and my mom are back. So probably means I'm yapping too much and we got to cut this video here. But as you can see, I can get super fired up about this stuff. I just want to be the best. I want to be great. I want to be worth something. And I take a lot of pride in what I do. It's just that simple. My name's attached to it. That's it. So I have 3 primary focuses right now. I have some side projects, of course, but the 3 primary focuses right now, of course, is training, my online coaching business. We've got a brand new training app coming out. But servicing my clients, my one-to-one clients, and of course, creating more solutions for our one-to-many, and then acting. Yeah, I'm 100% serious about being Marvel's next Wolverine. 100% serious. I genuinely see it. I genuinely believe it. I believe it just as much as I believe I'd be a world champion powerlifter. Actually, more. So it just goes to show. It's just a matter of time, man. It's not if, but when. So yeah, man. So I'm very excited for this national championship. I truly believe I am ready. I truly believe that I'm completely capable of giving everything that is required of me to win the championship and go to Worlds and win Worlds and then go to Sheffield and win Sheffield. Like that is 110% within my ability. And I intend to do that, and I genuinely want nothing but the best for all the other competitors, all the other athletes. They all want it. They all are hungry. They all work hard, but yeah, man. I mean, it's just 9 attempts for the rest of our lives. That's what it is. So, yeah, man. I mean, yeah. Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the bold. You're going to see some bold decisions being made at nationals. Boats are burning. All right, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, you can apply at the link in the description, but I'll see you guys in the next YouTube video. Peace.